So it looks like the West Coast Eagles are finally starting to make, I think, some moves that we can all collectively come to agree have been pretty good. Again, they actually went on a little bit of a rampage as of late, re-signing some really important young names that they absolutely needed to get pen to paper with. Again, one of them, of course, does actually happen to be the Victorian Job Shanahan, who recently just has re-signed until 2028. Again, I think could hopefully for the Eagles be their future key forward going long term. I think he'll be a guy that they expect to be a really promising player in the future. Again, Rhett Bazzo, of course, re-signing until 2026. There hasn't been as much excitement towards him as what the Shanahan one has been, but again, still a good signature nevertheless. And then again, Bo Allen as well, re-signed until 2028. I don't think anyone really thought he was going to be leaving, but again, the reason these signatures are good nevertheless is the fact that they are re-signed now until 2028, meaning that when Tasmania, start to work their magic in the end of 2027, it means that these guys are going to be in no danger of going to Tasmania, or at least for the time now. Again, I didn't think any of these guys were going to go there anyway, but you never know. I think Tasmania are going to see what the Giants did back in 2011 when they were ruthless with guys like Phil Davis, Callan Ward, Tom Scully, etc., and try and get some random players you wouldn't expect to the team. So again, it's good just to lock these players up nevertheless. But again, that's not what the main point of this video is. Again, I wanted to start off with that just to address that the young core of the Eagles is, again, it's looking promising. They've had some re-signings and there's a couple of things going on. But for those of you who didn't see, this was reported on Gettable. It is being said that with West Coast now expected to hold pick 1 and pick 2 when Oscar Allen goes, Duff Tyler and Dersma, for me, is firming as the double at the top of the draft. Again, that was, of course, on the Cal Toomey show with Riley Beveridge. Again, Cal Toomey being one of the biggest reporters in the game. There's also been some murmurs outside of those two as well who have reported on it now that West Coast are looking like they are locking in, again, Dersma and Duff Tyler at pick 1 and 2. Again, this is no surprise. I think there are still some people confused about how the Eagles will have pick 2 though. Just a little brief explanation that most of you guys probably already know or watching this video, but in case you don't, essentially the Eagles are expected to lose their, captain Oscar Allen in this upcoming, trade period and free agency. Again, he is almost everything but a lock to go, or everything and a lock, I should say. He's basically just a lock to go to Brisbane at this point, to say it as simple as I can there. He's a lock to go to Brisbane, and with the money that it is being reported that the Lions are offering him, the years and whatnot, all of the above, that will be giving the Eagles a band 1 compensation, which will be next to where they are sitting on the ladder, which is, of course, dead last. So, again, they will have pick 1 on their own and pick 2 that they're going to be getting back for Oscar Allen, a part of that, free agency compensation pick. Again, this is great for the Eagles, and I think a lot of us really thought that, for some time now, that the logical 2 players would be Cooper Duff Tyler and Willem Dersma. Again, I have seen some concern about these picks. Again, there are some cons that people are bringing up. Of course, Duff Tyler is a ruckman, and a lot of people around the game believe you can get a ruckman with a, a later pick, or trade for an up-and-coming ruckman and get him for pretty cheap. Again, teams have done it before. Look at Richmond when they got Toby Nankervis for pretty much a packet of chips and maybe a packet of M&Ms. Again, they were able to turn him into a premiership ruckman, 3-time premiership ruckman, and their captain. He wasn't even getting a game at Sydney. Again, that's a con some people have said about Cooper Duff Tyler. I don't like that con just because I don't think Cooper Duff Tyler is your regular kind of ruckman. I think this guy is really special, and I'm going to counter that with a pro real quick. Again, Cooper Duff Tyler is not just your average ruckman. This guy goes out and gets 20 disposals like it's fun every single game. He can go down and play as a key forward. He plays as an extra midfielder. This guy is the complete package, and I mean, yeah, 100% he deserves to be, I think, pick 1 at this point, and makes a lot of sense to why the Eagles want him. And like most things on their team, they desperately need a ruckman. Again, some cons about Dersma is, well, people have mentioned he's a Dersma. Again, why have people mentioned he's a Dersma is because the Dersmas in the AFL are, well, to put it quite simply, they're not that good. Like, I sometimes wonder if centre-half bench Jordan Beecroft of Division 2 football last year would get a game over the shit that I've seen Zane Dersma put up for North Melbourne this year. Again, I know he's only in his 2nd year, but he was a pick 4, and he just doesn't look like he has the fundamentals or ability to be a good footy player. It is so early, though, so I won't talk too much about him. Again, Xavier, a lot of people thought was going to be an All-Australian wing one day, but again, even though he's having his best probably career year, he's actually had a pretty solid year for Essendon. His last couple years before that were really not too good, and again, his defensive pressure can sometimes make you want to jump off the biggest bridge in Melbourne when you watch him play. So again, a lot of people have said that, and of course both of the players are Victorian. But the reality is that I don't think that really matters. If you are a good club, if you've got a good foundation, a good culture, bringing both of these guys in just because they're Victorian shouldn't matter too much. Again, Dersma personally knows Harley Reid. Dersma's sister actually was dating Harley Reid. I don't know if they still are, but again, there's like kind of that family mutual connection right there. And you're going to assume they're probably mates because of that. Again, reality is you've got the number 1 and number 2 prospect. Whether they're Victorian or not, Cooper Duff-Tytler is a 199/200 centimetre ruckman who goes out and gets 20 disposals a game, can kick a bag for fun, be a really good ruckman. Again, is, I think, a really good prospect that the Eagles are going to absolutely love. While if you look at Willem Dersma, again, I still think he actually shows much more than what his brothers do. I think he's actually both of his brothers combined, and if he could convert that, then he's going to be a seriously good AFL player. Again, I think he's actually got the athleticism, marking ability, leading traits is what Zane Dersma does have. Again, I think when it comes to Xavier Dersma is a pretty good player when it comes to moving around the ground. Again, he can play as a wing, he can play as a halfback. He, of course, played some inside a little bit at Port Adelaide, not much, but had a little bit in there as well. Again, Willem Dersma is an inside midfielder who can play wing, he can play halfback, he can even do the kick-ins. He's one of the most flexible and versatile draft players we've probably seen in a minute. The reality is the guy can go everywhere, and I wouldn't even be surprised if he actually made a pretty good high half forward in the game as well. He's got a great leap, great marking ability, great lead at the footy. I just want to see if he can become a contested player, because I think a lot of the issues with Xavier and Zane as well is their contested game is not good, and they're both very weak. Again, if Willem Dersma can become a player who can actually take like a pack mark around the ground and not get pushed out or shoved out too easy, then that's fine. He doesn't have to be taking contested marks. It's not his job. That's not the player who he is. But Zane Dersma, you watch him play for North, and he'll lead up at the footy, and because he's so weak, he'll just flat out get pushed out. If Willem can correct that and, again, be good in the marking contest and just not be weak as piss, then I think he'll actually be a very, very solid player. So again, West Coast are getting their men here. They're getting, I think, the 2 best players probably in the draft. They're making sure Richmond don't get, again, the 2 highest ranked players in the draft. It's not like West Coast don't need pretty much everything under the sun right now. So just go best available, see who you get. And I think the best available is probably Willem Dersma and Cooper Duff-Tytler. So I think they're doing good here. I think it makes sense. And I think this is a absolute given at this point. And I would be pretty surprised if draft night came around and they didn't take these guys. Plus, it's probably a way they're going to convince Harley Reid to stay. Again, giving him a guy like Willem Dersma, to be with that sort of connection that we talked about earlier, makes a whole lot of sense. It's just an added bonus, really, isn't it? Again, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section down below. Who do you guys think West Coast is going to draft at pick 1 and 2? Will it be Willem Dersma, or will it be Kubiduff title. Again, I'd very much like to know your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel for all latest sports content and news. My gaming/movie channel, which will also be getting linked down below, as well as my Instagram. Go check them all out. Links down below. Yeah, as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.